Well, hello everyone. Judy asked me to say something about myself. It's a real pleasure to be here because I trained to be a teacher here. And in fact, I left here and I went on to be a maths teacher. A maths teacher at Shelby High School, followed by, Barker College, St Patrick's College at Strathfield, and finally ending up, I think, at Brookvale and then back to St Pat's, and then teaching biology. And then we're going back over to teach biology. So I left here really and I taught maths, and I'm back here to lead the curriculum reform which is going across the life sciences. So that's why I'm here again, and it's a great privilege to be here. I know that Judy, you invited me, and it says on the programs that I'm supposed to give you answers to these 3 questions, but I'm going to set up a puzzle because you're going to find maybe the answers to the questions in what I've got to say, because I haven't really answered them completely. I thought I'd start with the one which is the one that's on what maths means to me. And I'm going to take this from a really personal experience. My mother was good at maths. My mother was good at maths. As a young girl, she left school and very early, and she became a bookkeeper. So it makes me feel like I'm getting very old because you all look very young. But a bookkeeper, for those people who are older in the audience, and guess what, I did multi-strand, Leon. A bookkeeper kept accounts, it was a job you did when you were 15, 16. Well, that was my mum's job. And she often talked about her sisters and brothers, of which she had many. There were 10 in her family. And she would say to me as a very young child, my sister, your auntie is quick. And my brothers were quick. They were quick at maths. It was maths that what they were quick at. And when she said that, she said it in terms of admiration. And she said it in terms too of relativity, because I think she thought herself that she was slow. And yet she raised 6 children. I'm one of 6. She kept accounts for my father's business and for 40 years. And I can't ever remember her making a mistake with the wages. And guess what? If you made a mistake with the wages with my father, you would know about it. So there was never an argument about her maths at all. Her brothers went off all to be engineers, and her sisters, they went off to be the pivotal people in their families. Now consider this. She left school at the age of 12. So she had done maths up to the age of 12, as did all my aunties, who then became, because the boys went on to school, but the girls left, and even my older sisters left school at the age of 14, the leaving certificate. So you can't really say in the end that my mother was slow, can you? I mean, she also was very interested in reading, and in fact, the day she died, she had a pile of books on her bedside, which were the books that she planned to read. So even in death, being numerate and being literate was really important to her. And I suppose I'm telling you this story because I know it's a math conference and I wanted to fit in that literacy part. But I grew up in that environment knowing that maths was to be valued and that teachers of mathematics like yourself are to be treasured. So you're all, to me, the most treasured people that I can think of for our students' lives. How many of our children, however, grow up like this? How many grow up in an environment where maths is one of the most important things that they're going to do, particularly in this culture where we seem to be valuing other things? I think that maths provides these powerful messages to students that teachers have a great opportunity, and the message that you're providing to students is whether they can learn. You think of the challenge that you provide to a student when you give them a maths problem that you think might be just a little bit too difficult for them, and yet they get it. What do they feel within themselves? They feel that sense of achievement and that sense of that self-esteem is raised, and they finally feel self-confident. Of course, however, maths can also provide those contrasting messages to students, that they're not good at maths and they're not quick and that they can't achieve. So I think our job as mathematics teachers, and I don't include myself as one of them, but you know, it's a collective, isn't it? I think our job, whenever we've got a learner in front of us, is to provide them with that self-confidence and the challenges that lead to that, because an easy challenge isn't going to lead to self-confidence. And so, I also think that the message that's needed for those students in front of you is the more often that you do maths, the better you're going to get at it. It's not something that's completely innate and natural. For some it is. But for everyone, I think, the more maths you do, the better you're going to be. For me as a biologist, you know, maths is critically important. I think students get the wrong idea about biology, you know, and maths. I mean, biology, don't you know, it's the easiest of all the sciences. You know, biologists, they're the dumb ones. You know, and the physicists and the chemists, they're the bright ones. But increasingly, it's the mathematics component of biology that's going to be important. I read in the newspaper every day that in the last 2 years, and you probably read it too, that we've got more data in the last 2 years than any other time on the planet. So making sense of that data is going to be a critical skill for our students in the future. But for our students, and I think it was a person who said it, was it Maria who said it earlier, about making connections, I think we need to keep our students connected mathematically and create pathways where there are challenges and success. And we need to send the right messages here. And the right messages involve that pervasive notion that innate ability alone and being good will lead to success in maths. I think we've got it wrong. It's not innate, well, innate ability does help, but that doesn't mean that if you don't have that innate ability as a student that you shouldn't do more maths. You should do more maths. And I think we need to stop having this deficit model that our students are somewhat in deficit in maths and instead have a much more positive mindset, a growth mindset it's called. I'm sure you know of the people who talk about this because school teachers know it better than anyone. I'm going to finish with a story which skips a generation. So to a grandchild that my mother said was quick. She said he was quick. However, the majority of teachers that taught him mathematics said he was a humanities student. Have you heard this before? This person is a humanities student, not so good at maths. Well, the message sent to him when he was about to do his HSC was perhaps he should avoid maths at the high level and concentrate on those humanities subjects which were going to get him the best marks. However, there was one maths teacher, and he's not here today, unfortunately, but there was one maths teacher who said, I disagree. And there was that grandchild who said, I feel a connection with that teacher. And hang on, I think I'll go on and do maths. So he went on, he ignored the majority of advice that he had received constantly over 5 or 6 years before he got to the HSC, and he persevered. He did maths. He did both Extension 1 maths and Extension 2 maths. And the more he did maths, the better he got. The stronger the connection grew with the teacher, his marks started to increase. He did more maths. The teacher said, well done. You're doing much better than you did before. The stronger the connection, the more maths he did, the better he performed. The result, 98 for Extension 1, 96 for Extension 2. Not bad, hey, for a non-maths student. That's my message to you. It's important to value maths, but you know that already, for all students. Thank you.